The three teams that we're going to buy and sell going into the NBA season after free agency. And I'm actually going to start. Usually I would go ladies first, but here we're going to go gentlemen first because I've already kind of given this one away and tipped my hat where I was going to go. I'm going to buy in, not sell. I'm going to buy in here on an MVP future. 50-1 is the best price that I've seen on Ja Morant. 2 years ago, Ja Morant averaged 27 points per game. The Memphis Grizzlies were a top seed in the Western Conference. Obviously, there's been some injuries. There's been some off-the-court stuff. That's what concerns me a little bit because Ja, before the gun stuff, before the suspensions, was the number one selling jersey in the NBA. You know, all the kids, it was either, especially here in DC, like I either saw Steph jerseys or Ja Morant jerseys. Going home in Chicago even, same thing, because nobody cares about the Bulls right now. Really marketable player, awesome player. Reminds me of like Derrick Rose in his prime. Only a 27% shooter from three-point range, so that's going to have to improve. Hopefully that improves. But I could see Ja legitimately averaging 30 points per game, 8 assists per game. And I could see Memphis bouncing back and being between a 45 to 50 win team, a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. Probably have to be a top 3 seed in the West, which is why, the Luka futures didn't come home for me last year. But yeah, I'll buy in on Ja Morant, bounce back season, and I feel like that's the best thing that you could do. 50-1, or you could go plus 275 on Memphis to win the division over Dallas, or like you said, you could take them to win the West. You could take a flyer on them. But I'm going to go with Ja 50-1 to win MVP.
Yeah, I like that. I gave that out yesterday. I gave out what I was thinking last segment, which was also Zach Edey, Rookie of the Year, which I think I saw a 9-1 the last time. That was the last odds that I have. Let me see if we have it up.
It was
like
10-1 was the best price. Yeah.
Yeah. 9-1 at BetMGM. It was actually plus 2,500 before he ended up going to Memphis, which is fascinating. I just think if the Memphis is going to be good, then they're going to have a center, and that center that they have is only Zach Edey. They don't really have anything else. Everything's going to kind of be the linchpin on how Ja and Zach Edey work together. Whether Zach Edey is going to be as effective of a passer and as a role man as he was at Purdue. I really like. I don't like it as much as if Memphis would have drafted Donovan Clingan. I think Donovan Clingan's a better player, but Zach Edey's conditioning is certainly better. He was able to stay on the floor longer for Purdue. So I actually really like that. I think we're both kind of all in on Memphis a little bit.
Yeah, I like Memphis this year. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be in the Western Conference Finals, but I do think that Ja is going to have a ridiculous season. Remind people who he is. I like the Zach Edey pick, especially in this year's draft. Like you said, I mean, dude doesn't get gassed. He could play legitimately 40 minutes. I don't think he's going to do that in the NBA, but he could give you good minutes. And maybe it'll keep Jaren Jackson out of trouble as well. I like Memphis to bounce back this year for sure. Coach of the Year odds aren't out yet. What do you think JJ Redick's Coach of the Year odds are going to be, though? No. Hear me out, because if the Lakers finish with 50 wins or higher, I think JJ Redick is the reason why he gets everybody to buy in. Like, I don't care. I don't care about the Bronny draft pick at pick 54 because he's not going to get actual minutes. But I like the Lakers draft. Let's say Anthony Davis plays 78 games again and plays like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Bron's going to give you the same thing that he's going to give you every year until he retires. He's going to play about 60 to 65 games. He's going to average 25 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds. Let's say Austin Reeves. Let's say they're able to make a move, and JJ gets all these guys to buy in. And there's a lot of people out there that look at it like it's going to be a disaster because Steve Nash was a disaster. But like Steve Nash at the time was working for Bleacher Report as a soccer analyst. JJ has been around the game since he was a kid. Hell of a player at Duke, decent NBA career, hell of a podcast host, decent broadcaster. LeBron's good buddy. LeBron's not going to know. LeBron, I'm trying to make the case myself here. I'm buying into if the Lakers are relevant this season, JJ Redick is going to get a look And I'm probably going to bet that market if it's the right price. Like if he's one of the favorites, I'm not going to touch it. But couldn't you see JJ Redick if the Lakers win 52 games? Like this is a team that 2 years ago was in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, I know we expect all these young teams to improve, but like if the Lakers are a top 4 seed, who knows, man? I wouldn't hate the bet. JJ Redick, coach of the year. I'm buying.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
That's fine. All right, this is kind of like copping out, selling out here because I know I played the Knicks futures, but that was at 8-1. Now that we're down to plus 350, I'm actually going to sell the Knicks at current price, New York that is, and I'm going to buy in on the Philadelphia 76ers for their ceiling. You know I have to do it because you know I get excited with these mini little super teams, and you know that I love Paul George. I love the ceiling of Paul George being healthy for an entire playoff run. I love the ceiling of what Joel Embiid can give you if he's healthy for 60-plus games in a regular season because he could legitimately average 32 points per game, double-digit rebounds, and win an MVP. I'm excited that Tobias Harris is out. I'm excited that now Nick Nurse is in. I mean, I know Nick Nurse was in last season as well, but now I think you have a better roster. I like the way that they filled out the bench. I think I'm going to buy in on Philadelphia. Because, like, let's be honest. Boston's going back to the NBA Finals. I think this is going to be a little mini dynasty that we're going to see from the Celtics. I think we're finally going to get what Jaylen Brown promised to Taylor Rooks, 5-6 years ago when he said by now he would be a 3-time NBA champion. I just think on paper that's the best roster, right? They re-upped Drew Holiday. I thought Drew Holiday had like 2 more years left in him. Instead, he's got at least 3 more in Boston. They re-upped Derek White. Did you overpay a little bit for Derek White? Casuals will say yes. I'll say no. Derek White, what he gives you, he could shoot, he could defend. I mean, he could defend. I think he may. Have you ever seen anybody block shots under 6'4" the way that Derek White does? He's a lockdown defender.
No.
Drew Holiday's a lockdown defender. I know Porzingis is going to start the season injured, but as long as you get him healthy after the All-Star break 100%, you have one of the better rim protectors. And man, imagine if he could give you what he gave you game 1 of the NBA Finals, every once in a while and give you 20-plus points, which he averaged 17, 18, whatever it was. Tatum could win an MVP. Jaylen Brown can legitimately win an MVP. Joe Mazzulla is a solid coach. So, I mean, really I'm buying into the Boston Celtics, but I like the ceiling for Philadelphia. I just feel like I trust them a little bit more, and I think Nick Nurse. I love Tibbs, but I got to give the coaching advantage to the guy with the championship ring and the guy that doesn't run his team into the ground every single season. So, yeah, I'm kind of buying into what Philly's doing. But again, it's a big if for Paul George and Joel Embiid to stay healthy.